This segment is all about selling your business in today's economy. Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial, and this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's a place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. Joining me on this segment is Ben Shaw with Murphy Business Sales. Ben, welcome to the program.
Hey Mark, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Ben, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically let us know who are the types of clients that you specialize in working with.
So Murphy Business Sales, what we do is we help buy and sell businesses. We are business brokers, and really, who we really try to serve is someone with a business that is ready to exit, or just even thinking about exiting their business, and they want to know what the steps look like. And so basically, we kind of sit down with them, kind of explain to them what's their options, help them figure out what's the value of their company, and basically help them make a plan to exit their business. Because it's one of the big things we've seen a lot of. It's better to start planning earlier than later, just to kind of give you a little more information. Most of the people we work with, I mean, they are business owners, they are savvy, they have good knowledge. It's just giving them the information they need to make the best decision for themselves.
As you mentioned, these business owners are sharp and savvy, and they're typically really great at starting and growth. But how much thought have they really put into selling the business or transitioning? Do you find that they even know where to start?
Uh, Typically, no. I mean, that's one of the things you run into is a lot of people, they've been so head down busy working, and in general, the average business owner sells one business in their lifetime. I mean, it's not a common trait. Most people really aren't thinking about it. And one of the things we just try to get them is at least think about this. Are you going to pass it off to your kid? Are you going to sell it? And just kind of have that plan in place, because that's one of those things a lot of them just aren't thinking about. And recently that's kind of changed a little bit.
Now, you mentioned, also uh, being a business broker. Do you feel like business owners know about the services that a business broker provides? Like when people sell their homes, they think of calling a real estate agent. Do business owners know to call a business broker? Tell us a little bit about that and what's the difference?
So that is one of the big things we do, is just trying to educate business owners on what a business broker is, how it's beneficial to them. Because obviously, most people understand residential real estate and selling their house and reaching out to a realtor to package it up. That is basically what a business broker does. Even if the business doesn't have commercial property attached to it, business still has a value. So business broker can help them come in, figure out what's the value of their business, and help them kind of package it up to market it, find their appropriate clientele who would be potential buyers, and then market to them and handle all that while the seller is able to focus on running their business. And that's really what you want with a full service broker, is for them to handle basically everything. So you can just focus on running your business and kind of give them the information they need to help find the right client and then work through the process of selling it.
As you mentioned, when people go to sell their house and typically they say, hey, let's go to market, and they're in market and they can sell within like 45 days. Do you feel like business owners are like they got the timeline wrong? Do you find that they're even prepared to sell? What is the timeline like, and when should business owners start the process, and how long do you think it takes?
Well, I mean, on average, when you're looking to sell a business, it's 9 to 12 months, and that's if the business sells. The kind of the national average is about 30% of businesses listed actually sell. And there's a couple of different reasons for that we could get into. But I always kind of tell people it's good to at least be thinking about the exit several years out, because there's a couple of little things you can do. Like, one, cleaning up your books. I mean, you basically need to tell your story of your business to someone from the outside. And your books are what you tell that story. Obviously, they can see the brand, they can see different things. Your books are kind of what shows how much money this business makes, how strong are the financials, and really getting those kind of dialed in a couple years out. That's something your accountant can help you with, a bookkeeper can help you with, even talking to a broker, they can kind of explain some things they have. And that's one of the big things. But I always feel, a couple years out, kind of start planning and understand that most likely it's going to be a 9 to 12 month process to sell your business.
You mentioned that there are some pillars that help people, with the success of selling their business. Let's unpack that a little bit. What are some of the big keys of making sure that your business is sellable?
Well, you got a handful of things. One of it, one of the basic ones is consistent profitability. Showing that you have a track record. You're profitable, but you also have a track record showing you've been profitable year over year. Ideally, you want to have growth. You don't want the profitability to be down, because no one really wants to try to catch a falling knife. You kind of want to pick something on the upswing. The other one is customer conquest. This is actually one of the things that banks will look at. They don't want you to have all your business. You take 20% of your business each. Ideally, you want your customer concentration, your biggest customer, to be maybe 10 to 5% of your business, just to show that you have a wider group of customers. It kind of helps with stability, because all of a sudden, if you lose one customer, it's not as big a deal. But if you lose a customer, it's 30% of your total bottom line, there's a problem.
Great insight.
And
Ben, what inspired you to get into this field and help business owners sell and transition? How did you get started?
For me, my background is I've done startups. I've done everything from marketing companies. I've done consulting for about 15 years. I've done my own. I've owned supplement company that I started. I've done a bunch of different businesses over time, and I always liked working with small businesses. I liked helping them, and this just became the natural fit for me to kind of help them basically get to the finish line, help them get their goals, help them get to the next stage in their life so they can do their next thing. Some people are looking to retire, but some people are just looking, I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm ready to do it for a different challenge and want to go to a different business. So it's basically helping small business owners kind of reach that next step.
Right on. Ben, before I ask you my last question, in regards to selling a business in today's economy, is there anything I didn't think to ask you that you feel is really important to share with business owners considering selling today?
So one of the big things that's happened, obviously, we just got through kind of the COVID, the pandemic, things like that. That was a big, I think, for a big thing. It was a big kind of eye opening, and a little bit of like, it took a minute to kind of sit back and think about life and think about their business and think about how their business, their life interact. One thing we're having is I had conversations kind of after things in 2021, had some conversations. Several business owners are like, you know what, I'm 62, I could work some more years, but I just had a friend get sick with something, maybe come down with cancer. Like, I'm ready to sell now because I want to go do these things with my wife while I still can. And we also ran into some people, a lot of people kind of thinking, what's my next step? What else I want to do? Because obviously the pandemic was, for certain businesses, there was a lot of fatigue. People were really worn out. It was very, very difficult for some industries. And it kind of got people thinking about more of the big picture. What do they want to do? What's the end goal? Because it's a little bit of not just the business, it's your life and the business. And so that was one of the big changes you got, was kind of that mentality shift. The other one, and the thing, my kind of advice for everyone, if you do have these thoughts in your mind of like, hey, what are my next steps? What am I doing with this? I highly recommend reaching out to a broker. We have Murphy Business Brokers all over the US, and getting a business valuation. And the big thing with a business valuation is they're going to look at your last several years of financials and basically kind of get a ballpark of what's the market value of your business. That's one of those things a lot of business owners, we know the price of publicly traded companies. We know what, a share price is, things like that. But we don't know what our own business is worth. Is it worth 250,000? Is it worth 500,000? Is it worth 750,000? It's kind of one of those things where, we're putting all this time and effort into it. We know what our 401k is worth. We don't necessarily know what our business is worth. And so it's kind of an important piece of the puzzle, where I always recommend reach out to a broker, get a business valuation, just give an idea, even if you're several years out, just give you an idea where you're at right now. Maybe you are a little short of where you want to be, and you can kind of set goals and benchmarks then to get maybe that $500,000 valuation up to closer to $1 million. And that, or maybe you're ahead of what your goal is. And maybe if you have the option, hey, I could sell now and go do my next thing. But I think that's a really good thing to get you an idea where you're at. If you want, I can do a quick breakdown on kind of the basic on how evaluation works, just to give some people idea of what, kind of what comes in evaluation. Just give people like a real basic idea. So you have seller's discretionary earnings is for a small business, and basically that is your net annual benefit a business takes in. So you're looking at your net income of the business, the owner's salary, and other owner's discretionary expenses, things like that are benefits to the owner, but they're paid for by the business to reduce on taxes, like insurance, maybe a vehicle allowance, things like that. Not necessarily your playoff tickets, but things that are like justifiable expenses. And you combined all those and you take some other accounting metrics. Basically, that's your seller's discretionary earnings. That's your annual benefit of your business. To make it mathy, we'll say it's $200,000. So then what we do is what a broker would do is they look at what's the market value or what's the market data show. What kind of multiple are businesses selling for? It depends on the industry, depends on some other things, but roughly it's about 2.5 times. So basically, take that annual benefit times that 2.5 times. So it was 200,000 by 2.5 times. You'd be looking at a business that's roughly $500,000. There's obviously a lot more goes into it. There's things you have to adjust for, but it kind of gives you an idea on roughly what you're looking at. And it's basically on what kind of profit and annual cash flow the business brings in is one of your biggest factors of the price of your business. So kind of one of those things I think it's really beneficial for business owners to kind of understand a little bit.
Terrific insight. Ben, for business owners listening that would like to speak with you and perhaps get your help, how can they find you and connect with you?
Probably one of the easiest things is you can go to Murphy Business Sales /Wilmington is my direct line, or you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. Ben Shaw, I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn, shoot me a message, and let me know any questions. If anything, I can answer a couple questions and maybe refer you to someone in your market that can maybe help you out even more.
This has been
And
terrific.
you can always shoot me an email.
Yep, go ahead. Yeah, give it
Oh
up.
yeah, sorry. You can always shoot me an email at benshaw, SHAW, at murphybusiness.com.
Terrific. This has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Hey, thanks, Mark. It's been my pleasure.
That was Ben Shaw with Murphy Business Sales. And this segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.